You can feel it the moment you step into the terminal. The fluorescent hum, the faint coffee scent from the cafe, the dull beep of the self-service kiosks, and that little carrier pressed under your arm that suddenly feels much heavier than it did at home. You're clutching a boarding pass, the pet's leash is coiled in your hand, and you're wondering whether the airline will take one look at your carrier and send you back to the curb. That tight knot of worry about papers, carrier size, fees, and the gate agent saying no is exactly what I've helped hundreds of anxious flyers solve. Start at home with paperwork and measurements.
If your flight happens to be canceled or delayed, Compensair will help you get compensation for the inconvenience and get your money back without wasting time on red tape. Get a refund for your canceled flight right.
Before you book, check the airline's pet policy page. They list cabin dimensions for under-seat stowage, weight limits, and whether service animals are exempt. Measure your carrier's external length, width, and height with a tape measure. Airlines count outside dimensions. Weigh your pet the same week as travel. Many carriers and weight limits change depending on whether the total, pet plus carrier, exceeds a set number. Print or save screenshots of the airline's published carrier size and fee page, plus the specific line that says how they measure. That screenshot can be a lifesaver at check-in. Documents depend on the animal and the route. For domestic U.S. flights, most airlines do not require a health certificate for in-cabin pets, but do require proof of rabies vaccination for dogs going to some states. For service animals, under U.S. DOT rules, you should have documentation only if the airline requests it. A letter or form can help at times, but remember the legal definition of a service animal is narrow. Emotional support animals, since 2021, are generally not recognized by most U.S. airlines as service animals, and so follow the passenger pet rules, treat them as pets. For international travel, you will often need a veterinary health certificate issued within 10 days of departure, import permits, additional vaccinations, and possibly quarantine. Check both the destination and transit countries. Call the airline and the destination consulate if anything looks unclear. At the airport, arrive early. I advise 2 hours for short domestic flights when bringing a pet, 3 for international. Bring printed paperwork, your vet's contact info, vaccination records, and the carrier's spec sheet. At curbside or the ticket counter, open the carrier so the agent can confirm the pet fits and that the carrier is secure. If the agent asks, show your screenshots and the pet's weight. If check-in kiosks don't offer a pet option, go to the counter. That's where the real decisions happen. TSA's role is simple and limited. They screen your pet's carrier by X-ray and may ask you to remove the pet briefly for screening if required, but they do not enforce airline-specific carrier dimensions. The airline decides fit under the seat, boarding priority, and fees. Think of the airline rule like a narrow doorway. If your carrier is too wide, it won't pass through, and the staff won't let it stay in the cabin. That's not personal. It's about space, safety during an evacuation, and the comfort of other passengers. Many useful links can be found in the description. Costs and risks. The real numbers. Domestic cabin fees typically range from $75 to $200 round trip per pet on U.S. legacy and low-cost carriers. International cabin fees vary widely and can be $100, $400 one way. Checked or cargo travel for larger animals ranges from $150 to $1,500, depending on distance and craft. If your carrier is rejected at the gate, you may face last-minute alternatives.
pay a much higher cargo fee, rebook on a later flight, or be refused travel. Worst case, you miss your flight and absorb a rebooking fee plus any veterinary or kenneling costs. If documentation is missing for international travel, the worst case can be quarantine, refusal of entry, or even euthanasia in extreme and rare scenarios where local law requires it. Don't let that happen by skipping the paperwork. Here's the cheapest, safest, and most practical route. 1. Buy an airline-approved soft-sided carrier that fits the strictest dimension you'll encounter on the trip. Soft-sided carriers compress a little under the seat and are accepted more often than hard crates for in-cabin travel. 2. Train your pet to rest calmly in the carrier weeks before travel so they sleep during the flight. 3. Get a recent health certificate for international flights and consider one for long domestic trips. Many small airlines ask. 4. Microchip and ID tag your pet and have a leash and collapsible water dish ready. 5. Book early. Most airlines limit the number of in-cabin pets per flight. A later booking can mean no space for your pet and a forced cargo or rebooking option. A few practical checks you must do at the gate. Reconfirm carrier dimensions and that the carrier will fit under the seat in front. Demonstrate by placing the empty carrier under the seat area if they ask. It's a fast visual and often settles agents. If you're traveling with a recognized service animal and the airline asks for forms under their permitted questions, answer calmly and politely. Provide the required attestation if asked. If anyone demands proof beyond what the law allows, politely ask for the supervisor and refer to the airline's own policy page on your phone. Now, one specific misleading claim to watch. Some booking websites and even airline pages advertise pets travel for free or service animals accepted without clarifying the narrow legal meaning. Often, free applies only to legitimate service animals under DOT rules, not to pets or ESAs. And booking sites sometimes hide the per-sector pet fee until you reach checkout. The trick is to call the airline directly using the number on their official site, not the booking aggregator, and confirm the pet fee, carrier rules, and whether the fee appears per flight segment. If an agent tries to push a premium pet carrier or an upgrade that sounds unnecessary, say no and ask for a written reference to the airline rule that requires it. If they can't provide one, refuse the upsell. A quick analogy. Airline pet rules are like fitting a piano through a narrow doorway. You can't fit it unless you measure, choose the right pack, and sometimes remove a leg or edge. The airline's job is to keep emergency exits and aisles safe. Your job is to make your carrier small and secure enough to meet that standard. When you follow that logic, the gate agent is simply confirming the piano will pass without blocking the hallway. Common mistakes that cause denials. Bringing a carrier that measures outside the airline's stated dimensions. Trying to board without a booking record that includes the pet. Failing to arrive early, or presenting an ESA as a service animal without the required current documentation where lawfully requested. These cause the most gate time stress, and often a rebooking or cargo option that costs far more than planning ahead. If your pet is large and must go as checked baggage or cargo, use an IATA-compliant crate, ensure water and comfort padding, and schedule a daytime flight if possible. Extreme temperature ground times are the real danger. Cargo travel should be a last resort for anxious pets. If you must use it, book through the airline's cargo desk with a direct human contact number and track the animal's status. At the gate, be polite, patient, and prepared. Agents have to make split-second safety calls. You'll get much further with documentation and a calm demeanor than with an argument. If the agent says no, ask specifically why and what could be done to comply right now. Sometimes a simple swap to a soft-sided carrier or a minor adjustment fixes the issue. Finally, practical packing tips. a towel or absorbent pad, a recent photo of your pet taped to the carrier, a small vial of water and collapsible bowl, extra leash, and copies of the health and rabies certificates. Put your contact info and destination contact on an internal label in case the carrier is separated. A small calming spray or a vet-recommended sedative can help for long flights, but only use medication under vet direction. If this helped you, please like and subscribe for more clear travel help, short, specific, and reliable.